Varin always thought the research decks of the Hellion Spire were the quietest place in the galaxy. Rows of humming equipment, muted lights that shifted with circadian cycles, air recycled so many times it carried no scent at all. Sterile, predictable, comforting. He liked predictable. Predictable didn't shatter his heartbeat or squeeze the air out of his lungs. Predictable didn't make him forget everything he thought he knew about professionalism. Which is why the moment Arasha entered the training hall, predictable ceased to exist. He had come during off-shift hours for a simple workout, seeking the usual solitude. And then she stepped through the doors, tall, devastatingly elegant, her presence so commanding it felt like gravity changed its vector around her. Lysithi, he had noted the first time he saw her months ago. Long-eared bioluminescent, fierce by nature and brilliant by culture. An elite astrophysicist from the upper decks. Untouchable, unreachable, except now she was here. Her skin glowed faintly with charged iridescence, shifting in soft gradients as she stretched, like moonlight refracted through water. Her long ears, delicate and sharp-edged, tracked the ambient sounds with fluid precision. And when she moved, it was with the kind of control that made Elia's scientific mind whisper high-gravity adaptations, while the rest of his brain whispered something far less professional. He kept telling himself not to look. He looked anyway, and then he stared. He didn't even realize how long until she suddenly froze mid-lift, turned her head and looked directly at him. Not a casual glance. A precise pinpoint, I see what you're doing look. Her ears angled forward in a slow sweep he recognized from his exolinguistics database. Attention, amusement, and something sharper beneath. You're observing me, she said, her voice carrying harmonics the translator softened into velvet. Very intently. His entire face heated. No, yes, I was just, studying. She stepped closer, too close. Close enough that he felt the temperature difference between their species ripple through the air. Studying? She echoed. For science. He wished the floor would open beneath him, preferably into the sun. That sounds worse when you say it, he muttered. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to stare. That was inappropriate. Her pupils narrowed in a feline sweep as she looked him over, as if examining a specimen that had unexpectedly grown interesting. You found something appealing. He couldn't speak, couldn't breathe, could only stand there wishing his heart wasn't beating loud enough to register on the room's acoustic sensors. Yes, he said finally, but that doesn't excuse. It wasn't unwelcome. That shocked him still. She tilted her head, ears forward, expression unreadable but not cold. You looked at me not as Lysithi astrophysicist, but as me, I noticed. A faint shimmer passed through her skin like light reacting to emotion. Honesty is rare among humans. Most pretend neutrality. You simply looked. It was rude, he whispered. It was honest, she corrected. And honesty in my culture is an invitation for clarity. She stepped closer again. Gods, she was tall and lowered her voice. What did you find attractive, Varin? He could lie, she would know. Lysithi hearing was too precise. So he told the truth. Everything, he breathed. How you move, how your skin glows, how your presence feels like it bends the room, you're extraordinary. A slow smile touched her lips, small but devastating. Acceptable answer. Then she glanced at the chronometer. I have calculations to finish, but you... Her eyes traced his features with unsettling accuracy. You will meet me again, Observatory Lounge, 1900 hours. He blinked. Wait, are you asking me? No, she said simply. I am instructing you. Her ears softened in a playful curve. You intrigue me, and it would be inefficient not to explore the reason. And then she turned, resuming her workout with perfect grace, as if she hadn't just detonated his entire worldview. Elias stood frozen long after she left. She wanted to meet him. She wasn't offended. She was interested. All because he'd been caught staring. And for the first time since arriving, Elias spent the rest of the afternoon pretending to work while his brain replayed the same 10 seconds on an endless loop. The moment Arasha stepped closer, the shimmering glow of her skin shifting with her breath, the unambiguous command in her voice when she said, You will meet me again. It didn't feel like a suggestion. It felt like gravity. By the time 1900 hours approached, he had changed his shirt twice, recombed his hair 3 times, and lost count of how many times he checked the time display on his wristband. He reached the observatory lounge 10 minutes early and immediately regretted it. Too early meant he looked eager, but arriving at 1900 precisely felt too calculated. He hovered near the panoramic window, pretending to admire the nebula drifting across the viewport. In truth, he was listening for her footfall, the near-silent sound of Lysithi's stride. And when he heard it, he knew. Her presence entered before she did, a subtle pressure in the air, an atmospheric shift. Then she walked in, tall, luminous, effortlessly magnificent. Tonight her bioluminescent patterns traced faint golds and violets along her collarbones, reacting to the low light of the observatory. Her long ears angled toward him the moment she spotted him. "You're early," she observed. "You're exactly on time." "That is not an answer," she said, moving closer. He swallowed. "I was already in the area." She glanced once at the empty lounge. "There is nothing else in this area." He sighed. "Fine, yes, I came early." Her ears lifted in approval. "Good, it means you cared about the meeting." He hadn't expected her to say it so plainly, nor to sound so pleased. She stopped in front of him, and for a moment he wondered how someone with such sharp features could radiate such gentle intensity. "Humans hide their intentions," she said. "Lysithi observe them. Tonight I wish to observe yours." "My intentions?" he repeated, heartbeat spiking. "Yes." She gestured for him to sit, her movements fluid, graceful, confident, without arrogance. "Your staring earlier was not professional. But it was honest. I prefer honest to polite." They sat across from each other, the galaxy spinning beyond the glass behind her like some cosmic stage backdrop built solely for her presence. She folded her hands. "Tell me what you felt when you looked at me." Elias almost choked. "Right now." "Now and then." He forced himself to inhale. "You overwhelmed me." "In what way?" she asked, leaning forward just enough that his pulse stuttered. "In every way," he admitted. "Your movement, your presence, your everything. I wasn't trying to objectify you, I just couldn't look away." A soft warmth glimmered along her jawline. Not embarrassment, Lysithi didn't blush, but something like quiet delight. "I know." His brow furrowed. "You knew." "Yes, I felt your attention long before I turned." Her ears angled forward. "Our species evolved to sense directional focus. Your gaze had weight." He covered his face with one hand. "That makes it worse." "Does it?" she asked. "To me, it makes it clear." "Clear how?" She studied him for a long moment, then spoke with gentle precision. "You do not look at me because I am Lysithi. You look at me because I am me." The words hit him harder than he expected. "You said that earlier," he murmured, "and I still don't understand how you know." She lifted one long-fingered hand and pointed delicately toward her own glow patterns. "When humans look at my species with superficial fascination, their gaze moves. They track features, ears, height, light they scan." "And I did." "No, you looked at my face." Her voice softened. "My expression, my movement, me, not the novelty, but the person." He blinked, stunned that she could interpret so much from something so unconscious. "May I ask something?" he said quietly. "Yes." "Why did you want to meet?" Instead of answering immediately, Arasha shifted her chair slightly closer. Not much, just enough that he felt the warmth radiating from her bioluminescence. "Because I have been aware of you for months." Elias froze. "You what?" "You think you observe us," she said calmly. "But we observe you just as much. You are careful, thoughtful. You adjust your tone when speaking to those who struggle in standard. You remember everyone's name after hearing it once. You apologize even when you are not at fault." He blinked rapidly. "You've been watching me." "Not watching." She tilted her head, noticing. He wasn't sure which was more destabilizing. "And when you stared today," she added, "your expression was not lust or shock or species curiosity. It was something else." "What?" "Wonder." All the air left his lungs. A silence settled between them, warm rather than tense. Slowly, she reached her hand across the table, not to touch his, just to place it near. A Lysithi invitation. He swallowed and placed his hand near hers, close, not touching. Letting the space hum with potential, her ears swept upward, deeply pleased. "Good, you understand the boundary." "T trying to," he whispered. "We will learn together," she said. "Learn what exactly?" "Compatibility," she replied without hesitation. "Intellectual, social, emotional, perhaps physical later if we choose, but first, truth." He exhaled shakily. "Okay, truth, I'm terrified for the record." She smiled, soft and radiant. "I know, and yet you still came early. That is why I find you intriguing." Elias spent the next day in a strange mixture of anticipation and disbelief. He moved through his tasks with the careful precision of a man terrified to make a single mistake, as if any error might ripple across the station and somehow reach Arasha's awareness. His colleagues noticed his distracted state. Someone even asked if he was sleep-deprived. He only smiled weakly. If he admitted the truth, I met with a Lysithi astrophysicist who looks at me like I'm worth studying and I think I might be falling for her. He would be transferred to psychological evaluation. By the time 1900 hours arrived, his pulse was already sprinting. Arasha was already there. She stood by the observation windows, her silhouette framed by a drifting golden nebula. Tonight her bioluminescent patterns shifted in cool blues and soft greens. Serene, contemplative colors, if the Lysithi spectral emotional mapping was accurate. When she turned toward him, the light traced the elegant lines of her face and the length of her ears, sharpening her beauty into something unreal. "You're exactly on time," she said. "So are you," he replied. This time she didn't decode it for him. She simply stepped closer and gestured for him to sit with her at the low table by the window. A tray of 2 beverages waited, one Lysithi infusion that shimmered faintly and the human-compatible tea he always ordered. "You got this for me?" he asked, surprised. "You prefer this blend," she said. "Your pulse slows when you drink it. It means relaxation. You can read my pulse rate." "You breathe loudly," she deadpanned. His eyes widened. She let him hang for 2 seconds before her ears angled upward in amusement. That was humor. He exhaled. "I'm going to need you to warn me before you do that. Why, it is enjoyable to surprise you." He ran a hand over his face. "You're going to break me." Her voice dropped a fraction, not intentionally. The way she said it, calm, direct, warm, made something flutter in his chest. Arasha folded her hands. "Tonight, I want to understand something, not about science, about you." "Okay," he said, steadying his breath. "Ask anything." "Your reaction yesterday," she said. "When I asked what you found attractive, you were truthful but also ashamed." Her luminous gaze studied him. "Explain this." He hesitated. Humans are taught not to stare, especially at someone they're attracted to. It's considered rude, disrespectful, objectifying. And when I realized I was looking at you like that, I felt guilty. "Why?" "Because you're brilliant and respected, and I didn't want to make you feel reduced to just a body." Arasha blinked, slow, analytical. "Then let me be clear, you did not reduce me. You acknowledged me." "That's not what most humans would say." "I am not human," she reminded him softly. "My species finds concealed attraction confusing. It disrupts social clarity. When I sense someone's gaze but they deny interest, it damages trust. That's the opposite of how humans function." "Exactly." She tilted her head, her ears tracking the quiet hum of the viewport. "This is why we must discuss it." "Discuss what?" "Our differences," she said simply. "If we pursue compatibility, misunderstandings will hurt us. You fear disrespect. I fear dishonesty. You withhold attraction. I express it directly. We must learn to bridge these." He swallowed. "If you mean this is still hypothetical for you." She considered him for a moment, then shook her head slowly. "No, not hypothetical. If it were hypothetical, I would not be standing here." He felt warmth crawl up his neck. She noticed, her ears lifted, pleased. "Then what are we?" he asked quietly. "Exploring," she said. "We are exploring each other, carefully, intentionally, honestly." He nodded, feeling both steadied and overwhelmed. After a moment, she shifted closer, so close that the faint heat from her bioluminescence touched his skin. "May I ask you something now?" he said. She inclined her head. "Yes." "When you look at me, what do you see?" Her eyes didn't waver. "A mind that resonates with mine, a presence that feels steady, a softness that invites truth, a human who is not intimidated by difference, a person who sees beyond the surface." He blinked, stunned by the completeness of her answer. "And physically?" he asked before he could stop himself. Her gaze swept over him slowly, not predatory, not clinical, but as if she were memorizing the structure of him. "You are small," she said, "but strong in ways that matter, expression-rich, warm. Your eyes reveal more than you think. Your movements are gentle." She paused. "I find gentleness appealing." His breath hitched. She leaned in slightly. "Does this surprise you?" "Yes," he whispered. "Why?" "Because you could choose anyone," he said. "Someone more your size, your species, your everything." Her expression softened in a way he had not yet seen. Elia's. Attraction does not ask for permission. It simply is. The room felt smaller, quieter, charged. Then her expression shifted, ears tilting in a new angle he couldn't decode. She leaned back slightly. "I should tell you something." "What is it?" "Someone followed me here." His heart lurched. "What, who?" "Not a threat," she said calmly, "but someone who is watching." "Why would anyone watch us?" "Because some do not approve," she said. Because Lycitha-human dynamics are rare. Because I am well known among the upper decks. And because you, her gaze softened, are becoming important to me. Elias felt a chill race down his spine. Is this dangerous? He asked quietly. Not yet, she said. But it might become so if we are careless. He swallowed hard. What do we do? Her luminous eyes settled on him with calm certainty. We continue, she said. We do not let fear decide for us. Slowly she extended her hand, palm open. This time he didn't hesitate. He placed his hand in hers, her glow brightened immediately. Yes, she murmured. This is how it begins. Outside the viewport, the nebula shifted, tendrils of gold swirling across the... Elias did not expect Arasha to take his hand again the next evening. He didn't expect anything, really. Every moment with her felt like walking into a room he'd never seen before, even if he'd been there 1,000 times. And yet when he arrived at the observatory lounge at 1900 hours, she was waiting for him. Not sitting, standing, ears forward, posture alert. Light dimmer than usual, a Lycithi signal of caution. What's wrong? He asked immediately, pulse spiking. She looked at him for a long, focused moment before speaking. Someone filed an inquiry this morning, she said. A formal one about us. His breath caught, a complaint. No, not yet. Her voice held the edge of vigilance. But they asked for documentation, frequency of our meetings, nature of our interactions, whether our connection is influencing research neutrality. That's absurd, he said. We don't even work in the same department. True, but influence is not bound by paperwork. Some believe Lycithian human partnerships create bias, vulnerability, compromise. And you think someone is watching us? Yes. Her ears angled sharply. They have been since the first night, but today they acted. He stepped closer, keeping his voice low. Does this mean we should slow things down? She blinked, startled by the suggestion. Do you want to slow things down? No, he said instantly, her glow warmed slightly. Then no, we will not. But the station, if the station wishes to interrogate me about my personal choices, she said, voice cooling into something regal, let them try. There it was again, that quiet, effortless dominance she carried. Not aggression, not arrogance, something steadier, shaped by a culture that valued directness over diplomacy and truth over pretense. Her presence alone grounded him. But a shadow of worry still twisted inside his chest. Are we putting your reputation at risk? My reputation, she said, is built on 10 years of exceptional research, 30 published papers, and a lifetime of Lycithi discipline. If anyone believes that is swayed by one human man staring at me too long in a gym, her ears flicked in annoyance. They are fools. He tried not to laugh. He failed. She tilted her head. Your amusement is pleasing. It's hard not to be amused when you say things like that with a straight face. I never say things I do not mean. That's what makes it funnier. Her ears angled upward, Lycithi for curiosity mixed with liking. He wished humans had such expressive anatomy, it would save a lot of guesswork. Come, she said softly, taking her seat. Sit, we talk. He joined her, but the quiet hum of the room felt different tonight. Less serene, more guarded. As if the walls themselves were listening. Arasha's eyes tracked his tension instantly. Do not be afraid, she said. If there is danger, I will handle it. You don't have to protect me. Yes, she said plainly, I do. He stared at her, throat tightening. Why? She held his gaze with luminous stillness. Because I care what happens to you. The words hit him like a physical force. Not sophisticated, not poetic, not softened for human delicacy. Just truth. He swallowed hard. I care what happens to you too. I know. A softer glow touched her cheeks. I feel it. How? He murmured. Lycithi, hear emotional resonance, she said. Your breathing, your voice, your pulse, all reveal truth. He laughed weakly. So I can't hide anything from you. You should not want to hide from me. It wasn't a reprimand. It was an invitation. Silence settled, comfortable this time. Their hands drifted toward each other, fingertips brushing, light, careful, electric. After a moment, she spoke again. Elias, I must ask you something real. Anything. When others disapprove, she said, will you stay or will you retreat? He didn't hesitate. I'll stay. You say that easily. Because it's easy. He looked at her fully. I've never met anyone like you. You challenge me. You see me. You tell the truth even when it scares me. I'm not walking away from that. Her ears lifted slowly, hope quiet and fragile beneath her formidable exterior. I needed to hear that, she said. Why? Because difference is not simple. Attraction is not simple. And what we are building, she paused, searching for a word that didn't exist in standard. It is not small. I know. And if others attempt to interfere, her glow dimmed, thoughtful, there will be friction. Then we handle it. She studied him, the faintest smile forming. You grow braver each day. Or more reckless. Reckless is sometimes bravery wearing a different name. He shook his head. You always talk like that. Always. It's unfair. You get to sound ethereal and wise while I sound like a panicking intern. You sound like Ilias, she said softly, and that is enough. He didn't look away, didn't blink, just let the meaning settle between them. Outside the viewport, the station rotated, bringing a stormlit gas giant into view, bands of violet lightning flickering like cosmic heartbeat rhythms. Inside, their hands slowly intertwined again, closer this time, no hesitation. Arasha exhaled. There is more. More. The one observing us, she said. Tonight they followed me again. They stayed far but closer than before. A chill crawled down Elia's spine. Do you know who they are? Not yet, she said. But I will. And if they want to stop us. Her expression sharpened, ears angled forward, pupils narrowing, bioluminescence brightening like a sunrise in fast motion. They will fail. He believed her, not because she looked powerful, though she did. Not because her species was stronger, though they were. But because her voice carried something deeper, something that told him she had chosen him deliberately, fiercely, without uncertainty. We continue, she repeated. Until we reach clarity, that is the Lysithi way. And the human way, he murmured, is choosing the person. Ilias didn't sleep that night. Not truly. His body lay in bed, but his mind wandered the corridors of Helion's spire, imagining tall, shadowed figures following Arasha through the upper decks, watching her, analyzing her, waiting. The thought of someone tracking her movements made something primal twist inside him. He wasn't strong. He wasn't powerful. He was Lysithi, but he refused to be useless. The next day dragged with agonizing slowness. At 1900 hours, he arrived at the observatory again, heart pounding, blood loud in his ears. She was already there, standing with her back to him, silhouetted against the nebula. Her glow tonight was muted blue, a color he recognized now, restraint. Not fear. Lysithi didn't glow in fear, it was something else, something controlled. He approached carefully. Arasha. She turned slowly. Her expression was composed, but her ears were angled in a way that made his stomach drop, analysis mixed with irritation. You're troubled, he said. I am calculating, she corrected, and I am displeased. He stepped closer. What happened? She stepped closer in return, one deliberate stride that brought her within arm's reach. Her voice lowered. The observer revealed themselves today. His breath froze. Who is it? A colleague, she said. A high-ranking one, Counselor Iharan. Ilias knew the name, senior research overseer, brilliant, influential, cold as vacuum. What does he want? Ilias whispered. He claims concern, Arasha said sharply. Concern for professional boundaries, for cross-species complications, for emotional compromise. But his tone made it clear he believed something else. What? Ilias asked. That I am being manipulated, she said. Ilias stared at her in disbelief. Manipulated by me. Yes, she said. It is insulting and inaccurate and deeply foolish. He exhaled shakily, anger rising. Why would he assume that? Because Lysithi physiology is more responsive to emotional resonance than yours, she explained. He believes humans could use that to influence us, to create attachment, to manipulate decision-making. That's absurd. It is also the stance of several advisory members, she said bitterly. Not officially, but quietly, behind sealed doors. Ilias felt sick, so what happens now? Arasha stepped even closer, so close he felt her warmth. I made something clear to Iharan today. What did you tell him? That if he intends to interfere with my personal choices, she said, he will find that I am far less diplomatic than he assumes. Ilias blinked. Arasha, what exactly did you say? I told him, she said calmly, that if he continues watching you, I will confront him openly, and publicly, on record, with accusation. Ilias' eyes widened. That's dangerous. Her expression softened, but in a fierce way, like light reflected on a blade. Ilias, listen to me carefully. He held his breath. I am not afraid of him. His heart thudded. And I am not afraid of this, she added, gesturing between them. He swallowed. But I don't want to be the reason you face trouble. You misunderstand, she said. You are not the reason, you are the choice. He went still. Her voice lowered to something warm, intimate. The Lysithi do not stumble into attachment. It is deliberate, it is studied, it is chosen, and I chose you. He didn't breathe for a moment, couldn't. Arasha, you fear for my standing, she continued, but I fear for your safety. Mine, yes, she stepped closer again, tall and imposing, yet soft in her glow. Iharan is not dangerous in physical sense. He follows rules. He obeys structure, but he may attempt to isolate you, question your assignments, push you from the research decks to limit our contact. Elias felt cold. Can they do that? Not easily, she said, but they can attempt. And they will attempt more if they believe you are weak. I am weak, he murmured. Arasha's eyes sharpened dangerously. No, you are cautious, you are soft-spoken, you are gentle, but gentleness is not weakness. She reached out and brushed her fingertips near his wrist, hovering close but not touching. And do not call yourself weak in my presence again. The command in her tone sent a shiver through him. He nodded, she exhaled softly. Good. A silence stretched between them, charged and raw. Finally, he asked, what do we do? Her answer was immediate. We continue meeting, not in secret, not in fear, open, visible, unapologetic. If they wish to question us, let them do so openly. That sounds like a challenge. It is, her ears angled forward. Lysithi do not back down when challenged, and I will not let fear decide the shape of my life. Elias hesitated, but if this escalates, it will escalate, she said. But escalation is not always destruction, sometimes it is clarity. He nodded slowly, feeling heat in his chest. Then I'll stand with you. Her glow brightened, warm gold blooming across her skin in soft pulses. That, she whispered, is all I needed to hear. She reached for his hand. This time she didn't hover. She took it fully, her palm cool, her fingers long, her touch gentle but firm. Elias' breath stilled. You trust me, she said quietly. Yes, he whispered, more than I should. She smiled faintly. Then trust this as well. She stepped closer, leaned down, her height difference forcing her to lower herself slightly, and rested the side of her forehead just briefly against his temple. A Lysithi gesture he had only read about. He froze. Arasha is that. A marking, she finished softly. Informal, not yet public, but symbolic. She pulled back just enough to look into his eyes. It means I defend this one. He felt something inside him break open. Fear, awe, gratitude, affection, all tangled. You marked me, he whispered. Yes, she said quietly, and if Iharan follows you next, he will see it. Is that dangerous? Her pupils narrowed, for him. For a long moment neither spoke. Then she added, there is something else. Something I have not told you. His heart tightened. What is it? Her glow dimmed to a deeper shade, serious, solemn. Lysithi markings bind both ways. He swallowed, meaning. Meaning I claimed you, she said softly. And now, by our cultural understanding, you have claimed me. He couldn't speak, her eyes softened. Do not fear it, bonds do not trap us, they anchor us. I'm not afraid, he whispered. I'm honored. Not because of fear, though fear sat quietly beneath Elias' ribs, but because something had shifted between them. The marking, the choice, the acknowledgement. He moved through his shift with a strange certainty that something big was approaching, as if the air pressure had changed before a storm. It wasn't wrong. He stepped into the observatory at 1900 hours expecting Arasha. He found Iharan instead. The Lysithi counselor stood with his hands folded behind his back, posture rigid, ears angled with clinical precision, an anatomy lesson in controlled disapproval. His bioluminescence barely glowed at all, dimmed to the cold blue of bureaucratic discipline. Elias froze. Counselor. Iharan turned. His eyes moved over Elias not as a person, but as a variable in an equation, unwanted, inconvenient, disposable. You have been difficult to find alone, Iharan said. Arasha protects you thoroughly. Elias' blood ran cold. Protects me from what? From consequence, Iharan said flatly. But personal attachment does not exempt one from scrutiny. His gaze sharpened. You have interfered with her work, with her clarity, with her judgment. That's not true. It is enough that I believe it might be. Elias swallowed. If you have an issue, bring it to me, not her. A faint lift of Iharan's eyebrows. Brave, foolish, human. Before Elias could respond, the atmosphere changed, subtle at first, then unmistakable. Light, warm, rising light. Arasha entered the observatory, not walking, striding. Her glow brightened with each step, gold blooming into white, white into iridescent violet. Not soft, not serene, not gentle, radiant, focused, claimed. Her ears angled forward in a posture Elias had never seen from her. protective aggression. Step away from him, she said. Iharan turned calmly. Arasha, I anticipated you would arrive shortly. You followed him, she said, voice sharp as crystal. Again. I followed my concerns. You followed your bias. Their light patterns clashed, Iharan's cold restraint against Arasha's rising luminosity. You are Lysithi, Iharan said. You know that emotional entanglement can distort judgment. And you presume to define distortion. Arasha stepped forward, towering over him, luminous in a way no human could be. You watched us for days, invaded my privacy, stalked him for what purpose? To preserve the integrity of this station. To preserve your control, Arasha snapped. Do not pretend your interference was noble. Iharan's gaze flicked toward Ilia's. He is manipulating your resonance. Arasha laughed, a sharp, incredulous sound. You believe he manipulates me. He is human, soft, fragile, unadapted. You are Lysithi. You should not bind yourself to someone so. The glow around her flared violently. Finish that sentence, she warned. Iharan hesitated. He did not finish. Arasha took a slow breath, then spoke in a tone so steady it vibrated through the deck plates. You forget something. Attachment is not a Lysithi weakness. It is a choice, and I have chosen. Her glow intensified, softening into a deep, warm gold. Ilias, she said without breaking Iharan's gaze, show him. Ilias almost didn't understand. Then he remembered. The marking. He reached up, pulling back the collar of his shirt. The faint, iridescent trace Arasha had placed against his skin shimmered under the observatory lights, subtle but unmistakably Lysithi. Iharan inhaled sharply. You marked him. Yes, Arasha said, with intention, with clarity, with full comprehension of what it signifies. You cannot be serious. I am. Her voice softened dangerously, utterly. Iharan stared at her in disbelief. If that becomes public, it will, she said, by my hand. You risk your career. No, she corrected. I risk nothing because truth is not risk, it is foundation. Iharan's light dimmed further, collapsing into the near darkness of defeat. You force my hand, he said quietly. I will have to file a formal report. Arasha stepped closer, so close her light cast his shadow long across the floor. Do it, she said. Even Ilias shivered. You invite disciplinary review? Iharan asked. Yes, she said. Because then you must bring me interference, stalking, and personal bias into the same documentation. And I will attach my testimony, and my reputation, and my lineage name. Iharan stiffened as if struck. You wouldn't. Try me. The two Lysithi stared at each other, one rigid, one radiant, one dimmed, one blazing. Finally, Iharan exhaled. Very well, he said. Your choices are your own, but if consequences arise. I will handle them, she said. He nodded once stiffly, then turned and left the observatory, steps quick and uneven. Silence swallowed the room. Ilias exhaled shakily. Arasha, that was. She turned to him. Her glow softened immediately, gold dissolving into warm hues of violet and rose. That was necessary, she said simply. You confronted him head-on, you challenged a counselor, you risked. I protected you, she said, stepping closer. And I declared us, I do not regret it. But what if he retaliates? Her expression gentled. Ilias, listen. She placed her palm against the side of his neck, right over the marking she gave him. Her touch was cool, deliberate, grounding. The moment I chose you, she said softly, I accepted every consequence. He swallowed, you chose me. Her ears lifted, glow radiating warmth. Yes, fully. He didn't know how to respond. So she helped him. She lowered her forehead to his carefully, bending so her height no longer created a barrier. Their breath mingled. Her glow illuminated his skin. This is the Lysithi vow, she whispered. Unspoken, but understood. What does it mean? He asked, voice trembling. It means, she murmured, I do not walk away, not from you, not from us, not now, not ever. As she spoke, her fingers intertwined with his, firm, steady, deliberate. He felt something inside him crack open, something fragile, something long buried. You're sure, he whispered. I have never been surer of anything, she said. And then softly, carefully, she leaned in and pressed her lips to his forehead. A human gesture, perfectly chosen. Ilias closed his eyes. When she pulled back, her glow traced